Hello everyone, welcome to the KZGN News. Today we're bringing news of a special council town hall meeting Wednesday evening. You don't want to miss this one. We also have news about the Sierra Sands School District groundbreaking yesterday, today's KZGN Talking Points editorial, weather, sports, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News Crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitnick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. Well, the big story is Wednesday evening at 5:30 p.m., the mayor has called a special town hall meeting to host Kern County Sheriff Donnie Youngblood. It will be in the City Council chambers at City Hall. The agenda is for the sheriff to explain his recommendation to close the Ridgecrest jail. By closing the jail, Ridgecrest police officers will have to drive all prisoners all the way to Mojave to be booked into jail. And it is estimated that half of those would not be accepted there and have to be transported all the way to Bakersfield. This recommendation results in the equivalent of losing 2 police officers each year. This cut puts our lives at risk and police officers' lives at risk. The sheriff made the recommendation after the county supervisors voted to cut all budgets across the board due to funding shortfalls. The sheriff got cut $1.2 million. An analysis of all the proposed cuts by the sheriff shows the only city affected by the cut is Ridgecrest. We start with this warning from the Kern County Sheriff's Department last week. He said, "The jail is closing in Ridgecrest." Sheriff Donnie Youngblood announced that the Kern County Board of Supervisors had to reduce his budget by almost $1.2 million. While cost-saving cuts were made around the whole county, only Ridgecrest cuts will affect our safety and the Ridgecrest Police Department. The local cuts put out by Sheriff Youngblood is as follows. The Ridgecrest jail will be closed and all detention staff will be reassigned to the Lerdo facilities to fill funded vacancies. This jail closure will eliminate booking and housing services in the northeast area of our county. Deputies and allied agencies officers will be required to transport their arrestees to the Mojave jail. This will cause the arresting officers to be out of their jurisdictions for increased periods when transporting and booking prisoners at the Mojave jail. That was the announcement from our sheriff last week. Again, other cuts were made. The sheriff will try to spin this as an equal sharing in the necessary cuts. But let's be clear, it's not an equal share in the cuts. No other cuts proposed affect the lives of the people of the Indian Wells Valley and the finances of the city of Ridgecrest the way these cuts do. The sheriff has said everywhere has to suffer in bad times. However, the cuts here have a much heavier impact to our safety. The same will go for his own deputies, where they too will have to be out of town transporting prisoners instead of being available to provide the service we all deserve. While the officers are out of town transporting prisoners, they are not available here to provide us the coverage for public safety we deserve. Again, I want to stress, all of the cuts made by the sheriff, none of them affect any other area of Kern County like the way it affects the Indian Wells Valley. This is a terrible decision. Why is it the only area of the county that is furthest away from the county backup support has to suffer the most severe cuts? So if you have an opinion about this, come to City Hall Wednesday evening at 5:30 p.m. Not 6 o'clock like their normal meetings, 5:30 p.m. at City Hall Wednesday evening. In news from Sierra Sands School District, the district held a groundbreaking for the new Murray Middle School and the extensive remodeling of Burroughs High School. The groundbreaking was Monday afternoon at 1:30. It was attended by all sorts of public officials. They included Congressman McCarthy, State Senator Gene Fuller, all local public officials, and Navy senior management. These projects are being funded by grants from the federal government specifically to build new and provide total remodels of schools on military installations. The new Murray School is being moved next to Burroughs High School. This will provide easier access to the school for the community and decrease the access problem the Navy has had to deal with forever. This project marks the end to years and years of work on local officials to get it done. The funding identified 30 nationwide schools to replace. Murray School was number 6 on the list. Burroughs High School was number 10 on the list.
But in late August of 2011, Mrs. Rummer received a call from Gary Willis from the Office of Economic Adjustment, which is connected to the Department of Defense. He told her that because of the condition of some of her school facilities, we were going to be offered an opportunity to write a proposal and to receive funding. We learned that the Department of Defense had a brand new program focused on upgrading K-12 educational facilities serving the children of military and civilian DoD employees. We also learned that the first increment of funding had been approved to fund work for the 12 schools in the country that were most in need. And according to this report, of the 12 schools in our country, Murray Middle School was number 4, and Burroughs High School was actually number 10.
Your drum major today? Well, I'm pretty sure that he's going to be standing right here next. I'll be retiring in not too long. He's been a Boy State. He's always made sure that all of us know who he is and what he stands for. We've asked him to do that. That's what it takes, to put yourself out there for your kids, your team, your band, your friends, and your community. And he's doing that. And I was very excited this morning, as are many others. But to walk in and see the area filled with people who represent the good people in our district, all of them working at all the different levels, it just brings tears to my eyes. You are truly a special community.
It is amazing to be here today. I did not want to miss it. But what's even more importantly, as the obstacles came, we didn't have to beg people to help us. Gene Fuller, in the right place at the right time, with the right background, running to help. Everybody being a part. And I will tell you how unique of the place of where we are. There have been more flyovers this morning than the Super Bowl had. Our band is going to be marching 4th of July in Washington, D.C. in the nation's capital. When I think about what has just happened in Ridgecrest in the last month, locality pay, that Scott has worked and fought, and so many of us have for a long time, is seen in a paycheck. You had the Secretary of Defense come and tour. We're breaking ground on what we know is generationally changed. How many of you here graduated from Burroughs and others? And Murray, 1940 buildings. We are putting kids in the 21st century now with the 21st century tools.
So we're really lucky here to get these projects. It only means good things for our kids and our community. Quality education begins with good teachers, and good teachers and our kids deserve good facilities to learn in. Well, tonight we're headed for the results of the New Hampshire elections. I can't wait to see the results of the vote. Trump and Sanders both started today with polls showing them in the lead. Sanders with a much larger lead over Clinton than Trump over the other GOP candidates. So by tomorrow, we should see if the pollsters were right or wrong. This could be a campaign-changing election for many candidates. Now stay with us for the next KZGN Talking Points editorial when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Now it's time for the 117th KZGN News Talking Points editorial. Here's today's topic. The City Council questions the Sheriff's decision to close the Ridgecrest Jail Wednesday evening at City Hall. Our safety is at risk. Well, as I reported earlier, the Kern County Sheriff Youngblood has decided to close the jail in Ridgecrest. And I want to emphatically state that this editorial is not directed to any of the fine officers and deputies that work there. This critical editorial is against Sheriff Youngblood's decision. Here's a recap of the Sheriff's announcement. The Ridgecrest Jail will be closed and all detention staff will be reassigned to the Lurdo facilities to fill funded vacancies. That's key. This jail closure will eliminate booking and housing services in the northeast area of our county. This will affect the Kern County Sheriff's Office and allied agencies' ability to book prisoners in Ridgecrest. Deputies and allied agencies' officers will be required to transport their arrestees to the Mojave Jail. This will cause the arresting officers to be out of their jurisdictions for increased periods when transporting and booking prisoners at the Mojave Jail. Now that was the announcement from our sheriff last week. Note, the most important part of the press release. Deputies and allied agencies' officers will be required to transport their arrestees to the Mojave Jail. This will cause the arresting officers to be out of their jurisdictions for increased periods when transporting and booking prisoners at the Mojave Jail. And the truth is that the police estimate that about half of the prisoners will not be accepted at the Mojave Jail and then have to be transported further to Bakersfield for booking. This cut is the only cut proposed by the sheriff that will result in that impact. No other agency will have to take officers off the street to travel 3 hours or more to book prisoners, thereby removing that officer from the city he is there to provide a service to. There will be a huge cost impact to the city. It is likely that overtime costs will surely go up, and then there is the officer fatigue factor, with a lot of overtime. The sheriff has made a decision that puts all of our lives at risk. It shows a poor valuation of the people of the Indian Wells Valley. First, let's handle the spin points the sheriff will use to support this decision. He will point out that every area of the county needs to share in the hard times. Conceptually, I agree. However, only one of the other proposed cuts will immediately affect the safety of the people they are supposed to protect and serve. The one other life-threatening cut that will affect people is the removal of the deputy in Boron. That cut will reduce coverage in that area of the county. Locally, the decision to close the jail here affects the safety of every person in the valley. The impact of the cut here means that our local police officers and deputies will no longer have the convenience to book prisoners here in Ridgecrest. All arrests will have to be booked into the Mojave Jail or Bakersfield Jail. This decision puts everyone's safety at risk in the whole Indian Wells Valley. Chief Strand said that the decision will probably equal 2 police officers per year lost from providing the people of Ridgecrest with adequate police support. He said, at best, a round-trip booking trip to Mojave equals the loss of 3 hours an officer on our streets. At times when we may only have 2 or 3 patrol officers on duty at a time, losing one of them to be out of the valley entirely is not acceptable. It puts all of us at risk. Hey, our lives matter. Officers' lives matter. We should not accept this life-threatening decision. You should tell Supervisor Gleason and Sheriff Youngblood that this decision is not equal across the county. It may be financially equal, but it sure isn't equal when it comes to public safety. Should there be cuts here? Probably, but not a cut that affects our lives directly. And now a short comment on the supposed cost savings. In the press release, the sheriff states this: all detention staff will be reassigned to the Lerdo facilities to fill funded vacancies. My response is this: funded vacancies? If there are unfilled funded positions at the Lerdo facility, how about just unfunding those positions? And truth be told, almost every cut the sheriff made resulted in moving deputies from one funded filled position to other unfilled funded positions and deleted currently filled positions. I know that was confusing, but why not just decide to leave those unfilled funded positions unfilled and unfund them? That would generate the same cost savings and not make life-threatening decisions. I fear this is pure politics. Is it just possible that the sheriff made this threat just so we would rebel against the supervisors, hoping we would pressure the supervisors to increase the budget again? Well, Sheriff, you have taken an oath to protect this and serve the people of the whole county. This decision does not fulfill that oath. The decision puts all of our lives at risk. Our lives will be at more risk. Police officers' lives will be at more risk. Deputies' lives will be at more risk. Other options are available. To you viewers, don't stand for this. Fight for our right of protection. Don't sit by and let Sheriff Youngblood put our lives at risk. Let him know the decision is not acceptable. And time is critical. The sheriff has slated the jail to close next Saturday. That's February 20th. In conclusion, come to the City Hall Wednesday evening at 5:30. Tell the sheriff, our lives matter, police lives matter. Step up and express some anger and fight against this jail closure. It is possible to fight City Hall, or in this case, the county sheriff. I'm Tom Whittick, and that's what I think. I'd like to know what you think. If you have any comments about this editorial or would like to discuss or recommend a topic, I'd like to hear from you. Please email them to info@kzgn.net. Now stay with us for weather and sports when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Now here's Lane with the weather.
Thank you, Tom. From the National Weather Service, another storm system is expected to bring another round of snowfall accumulations from the Ohio Valley to the mid-Atlantic in the Northeast. Strong winds and bitter cold temperatures will also impact the northern Great Lakes states. Temperatures across the nation: Carolinas at 47, Georgia at 35, Arkansas at 50, northern Texas at 62, New Mexico at 53, and Los Angeles at 84. And for us locally, tonight, mostly clear with a low around 40, southeast wind 5 miles per hour. Wednesday, sunny with a high near 70, with a calm wind. Wednesday night, mostly clear with a low around 39, east wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny with a high near 69, with a calm wind. Thursday night, mostly clear with a low around 40, north-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Friday, sunny with a high near 69, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Friday night, mostly clear with a low around 39, west-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. And Saturday, sunny with a high near 68, west wind 5 miles per hour. And that is your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom.
Thanks, Lane. And now here's sports.
Hello, my name is Patrick Sell, and I'll be bringing you a sports report today from Saracoso Community College. In local sports, the girls varsity basketball team of Burroughs High School will be playing tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at Sultana. The boys varsity basketball team will be playing tomorrow night at 6 o'clock as well, but here at Burroughs. Tomorrow there will also be a girls varsity soccer game, also against Sultana, but at 3 o'clock. In other local news, for the collegiate sports, at Saracoso Community College, the baseball team is now 3-3 with a winning percentage of .500, off to a much better start than they have been in the past years. They're only let me correct myself, possibly 3 wins away from already matching last year's high. The Saracoso baseball team will be having their home opener this Saturday versus Pasadena City College at 1 o'clock. And thanks to a generous donation from the Mather Brothers Incorporated of $60,000, Saracoso Community College will be bringing back women's softball next year and men's basketball. Saracoso Community College will be home to 4 collegiate sports next year. All thanks to the generosity of the Mather Brothers. And in other news, for professional sports, last night in the NBA, the Kings lost to the Cavaliers about 100 to 120. The Lakers lost to the Pacers 87 to 89, and the Clippers proved to be victorious over the 76ers 98 to 92. Great game. And tonight we can expect to see the Warriors with Steph Curry come up to play James Harden with the Rockets. That game is at 7:30. It's going to be a great matchup. And in other NHL news, the Ducks lost to the Penguins 2-6 last night, and tonight the Ducks are playing again versus the Flyers at 4, and the Kings are playing the Bruins at 4 as well. Both are going to be great matchups. It's going to be an exciting night to watch some hockey. In other news, following the NFL, after the Broncos took home the Super Bowl victory on Sunday, Peyton Manning has still not announced his career decisions for next season. Many are anticipating him to retire after just winning the Super Bowl in his last season. Great way to go out, but some are saying he may still continue to play. We will see. Time will tell. And in other news for the MLB, it's been a little quiet this offseason. Now that we're starting to tail off a little bit. But however, the Blue Jays did re-sign third baseman and AL MVP of 2015, Josh Donaldson. They signed him to a 2-year deal. It's a great move for the club, and it's going to be very exciting for baseball. Well, that's all there is today. Thanks for watching. Once again, my name is Patrick Sell, coming to you from Saracoso Community College. Have a nice day.
So that's the news for today. Also, KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Now stay tuned for Ridgecrest Talk coming up next.